Welcome back to Politics Nation. On Monday, two of Georgia's largest black church groups teamed up for the first in a historic effort to mobilize black voters for the 2024 election. Joining me now are the bishops of those two churches, Bishop Reginald Jackson of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, and Bishop Thomas L. Brown, Senior of Christian Methodist Episcopal Church. Thank you both for joining me today. Now, your churches have been pushing to expand and protect civil and voting rights for years now. I know you've worked with the Conference of Black Churches, Dr. Richardson and others, and I've worked with both of you as the head of National Action Network. Why are you teaming up now? First you, Bishop Jackson, then Bishop Brown. What is the impetus of why you're teaming up now around this 2004 voting issue?
Yeah, the fact is we have worked together over the last several elections, but because of the importance of this election and because of our genuine concern in terms of black turnout, we felt it was necessary for us to have a formal agreement that we would focus on voter education, voter mobilization, to make sure that blacks are thoroughly understanding the issues and that we not only vote, but that we vote in the best interests of our people. So that's what this agreement is about, and I look forward to working with my friend Bishop Brown in the CME Church.
Bishop Brown?
Thank you, Reverend Al. Thank you for this privilege. As Bishop Jackson indicated, we are aware that we both bring resources that often are done in silos. And this is an opportunity for us to put on the table our resources and strategize how to effectively get more black folk and others out to vote in Georgia. We believe we've got the resources both in terms of people, churches, and others to make sure that this happens.
Now, back in March of 2021, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed SB 202 into law, enacting significant restrictions to voting freedoms, including rigid rules around absentee voting and voter ID requirements. Bishop Jackson, how will you campaign and how will this campaign counter these laws, which many of us argue are efforts to suppress voting, especially among African Americans?
Well, you know, and that's a major point, because the fact of the matter is the effort is where blacks turned out in the largest numbers are the areas they went after, absentee voting. More absentee voters, especially black, than the history of Georgia. They've gone to change that. Ballot drop boxes. Even Governor Kemp himself voted by ballot drop box. Because of the turnout, they've tried to block that. So our campaign is starting early, because we want to make sure our voters are aware of these changes and can circumvent what it is they tried to do. And while I'm at it, Reverend Al, let me add that our kickoff worked off so well that now the AME Zion Church wants to come on board, and other denominations, not Methodist. So we intend to act early and act strong to counteract what they've tried to do.
Now, a new Gallup poll finds that a number of black voters who identified as Democrats have fallen by nearly 20 percentage points in the past 3 years. What do you think is behind this shift in sentiment among African-American voters, Bishop Brown, and then you, Bishop Jackson?
Well, there are a number of factors. Of course, there's been this whole cry that the last election was rigged, and other efforts to try to discourage blacks and others to vote. But I think some of it is kind of fatigue of people fighting and trying to make things right, and discovering that this is a fight that does not end with one election. It continues forever. And so our efforts here together is to not only motivate those persons as much as possible, but to get them out to vote so that they can indeed have their voices heard and known in the 2024 election.
Bishop Jackson. Bishop Jackson.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that Democrats have to take some responsibility for failure to message. blacks who spoke to me, especially younger blacks, talk about they voted Democratic and promises weren't kept. What they don't hear is that black unemployment is lower than it's ever been, more black judges than there have ever been, more funding for HBCUs than there ever been. Then they raise the issue, well, what about police reform and what about student loans? Well, somehow the Democrats, and that also includes the black church and local black leadership, have to make it clear it's not because they haven't tried, but it's because they don't have the votes. And the only way you change the votes is to change the people who are in those offices. And to change that, you have to get up, get out, and vote. And that's going to be much of our message. We can't get police reform unless we get some new people. We can't get school loans done away with unless we get some new people. And we've got to say it and say it loud.
And you've been saying that, both of you, for a long time. I know, Bishop Jackson, you in 2020 was active, but I'm glad to see this coming together. You were so active, they featured you in the documentary on me, Loudmouth. I don't know how Bishop Jackson snuck into my documentary, but let me ask you this before we let you go. I observed you spent some time this week, Bishop Jackson, in Atlanta at Fulton County's hearing over misconduct allegations aimed at District Attorney Fannie Willis. I know that she is a member of your church. Your overall thoughts on what we witnessed this week in regard to Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis?
Well, the fact of the matter is, Al, when you look at it, name me one law she's broken. And in the court case this week, they did not name one single solitary law that she's broken. Everything was based on simply their own perspective. For example, if you have a job, you get paid, that's your money. You determine how you spend your money. They claimed there was a conflict of interest, yet they never showed anything where the defendants in the government case have been harmed because of any actions by the district attorney. She came in and spoke clearly and strongly. There is no reason she should be disqualified. And again, no single solitary evidence was given where she had done anything that's a conflict of interest and does harm to the defendants in the government case.
Bishop Brown, any views that you have on this issue?
Yes, I think, Reverend Al, it's another example of the cowardice in which some of our brothers and sisters get at things in terms of politics. The same falsehood that came up about the election and what have you is being used against District Attorney Fannie Willis. No evidence, just accusations. And we are with Bishop Jackson and others in making sure that we stand with her because she is indeed a proud woman, somebody we are proud of, and who speaks with the kind of force and power that we need in that position.
All right, Bishop.
And Al, if I can just close that with two words, and those words are distract and delay. They want to distract from what the indictment is about, and they want to delay until after the election. That's what it's all about, distract and delay.
All right, Bishop Reginald Jackson and the Bishop Thomas Brown Sr. Thank you both for joining me tonight. My final thoughts are just ahead.